7 minutes. minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Saddle up and yee-haw! Welcome to a brand new week, everybody, on the RP Show. We are rocking and rolling into a new one in a new month, as a matter of fact. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show coming your way on the Game Plus Television Network, a variety of podcast platforms, and WQVC Radio. Mitchell Scruffy Blair will be with us in seconds. And in hour two, Jason Gregor from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Speaking of the podcast portion, I got to tell you some of the numbers. We were going over the analytics this morning, the numbers. They will blow your mind. Mitchell, I might even send them to you if you promise not to tell anybody. How are you doing, man? You survived the weekend, I see.
I am good. How was your weekend?
Well,
did you wear scarves and some mittens yesterday?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Let's get right into it. This is what Mitch is talking. Perfect, Mitch. And by the way, Mitch is the perfect co-host for today because I want to talk NHL, his Oilers, CFL, NFL, his team's in the Super Bowl. Mitch is the perfect co-host. But you asked me the question about the outdoor game in Tampa Bay last night. Nikita Kucherov scored the tying goal in the third period. Jake Gensel scored the only goal in the shootout. And the Tampa Bay Lightning staged their largest comeback in franchise history and beat the Boston Bruins 6-5 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. I was there. 64,617 others were there at Raymond James Stadium. How was it, Mitch? Are you asking about how cold it was? Is that your first question?
Well, no, because I talked to you on the weekend, and I said, you're going to be that Saskatchewan guy where everybody's freezing, and you're walking around probably in a light jacket unless you've gotten soft from your days in Florida, because really, that would be a nice day in February in Saskatchewan. So, did you wear your scarf? Did you wear your mittens? I'm hoping you didn't look like Mark Messier.
I brought mittens, didn't wear them. I was not dressed up as a pirate, but I'll say this. Kudos to the NHL fans that were at the game, because there was a lot of Bruins fans that had come down from Boston, a lot of Florida people. They were very hearty. You saw they filled the place. They stayed to the end. And if you want to know what it felt like, Mitchell, because you would know this, as would a lot of our viewers, it felt like a Halloween in Saskatchewan. Or specifically a Halloween. You know what I mean? Just that crisp. It ain't that cold, but it ain't that warm. Just, I'm like, I'm wandering around going, I can do this. But I was only in a suit coat because I thought for years and years and years, I traveled with junior hockey teams, rode the bus, didn't wear a parka then. I don't need to now. So I was in the press box and I was warm. But you know what? Here's it. So the poll question today here for EMJ Marketing, we went right to it. Was this the greatest outdoor game ever? And I need your take on it, Mitch, and the viewers as well, because there's people writing in going, no, Mosaic Stadium was 29. Well, of course, you would think that maybe it was the only one you were at. No, I know, but this K-Dog was the first guy to write in on that. But like Andre Vasilevsky fighting Jeremy Swayman, the big comeback, John Cooper dressed as a Colombian drug lord, you name it.
I love
the
that,
player
Mike.
Yeah. Well, I gotta, by the way, tell you this. This is a strict, you will love this. I'm walking into the stadium along with Brent from Wellington, Florida, who went along with us on the Rod Pedersen Show. He's co-hosting the Cats and Bolts with me. I see all these guys in these, what do you call them? Patriot uniforms, right? Like the early Quakers almost. And I'm like, oh, what are these? Are these the flag bearers? Are these the anthem singers? So I just walked in with them and was caught on camera in some of. It was the Boston Bruins. Yeah. So it was a literal, what? No. Yeah. So, yeah. So how I didn't get on the camera, I'm not totally sure. But what did you think? Because here's the discussion here in Florida. No, go ahead.
Well, okay. It looked great. And last night was one of the few outdoor games that I have watched over the last few years, because the outdoor game to me has gotten a little stale. But I really loved what they did. I loved the fact that Tampa Bay really got into this with the Buccaneers coming out in the creamsicle uniforms, John Cooper coming out with what he did. I thought it looked fantastic on TV. The game was great. The goalie fight is obviously something that people will walk away from. But was it better than Sidney Crosby scoring in the snow in the shootout in the first ever? I have to still go with that. And if you want to take that part, I was sitting at the Heritage Classic at Commonwealth Stadium, freezing my you-know-what off when the Canadians played the Oilers in the first outdoor game. But I still have to lean towards Sidney Crosby in the snow, because that was winter, that was hockey. That's what we grew up with.
That's what's great for shows like this. And I'm not done on this, but I told Mitch, we got a lot of topics to get to. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, words I thought I would never say. That weather in Florida was perfect for an outdoor hockey game. I know. BW from Edmonton says Cooper dressed like a gangster. Golden Lightning Jewel was incredible. Mark in Melford says John Cooper was on point with his. Listen, every single second I'm around that guy, I cherish. That dude is freaking hilarious, man. He is funny.
He's outstanding.
Really funny. And then after the game, did you see him smoking the big cigar?
Yeah. You have the luxury of dealing with perhaps the top two head coaches in the NHL, in Paul Maurice and John Cooper.
I don't know that. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking about comparing the two. I'm around them a lot. I would say Paul Maurice is more warm. I'm talking about personalities, not which is better, because they're both exceptional. Paul's warm. I don't know if John's warm, but he's funny. And him saying the day before at the news conference, he's like, this is like when we were kids and we couldn't get enough of it. And you had to pull us off the ice. You see now why these outdoor games, if you've never been, you wouldn't get it. But if you've been, you get it.
Yep.
Fair?
Agreed.
Yeah, that was easy. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the first one in Edmonton was very special because it was the first. Oh, I'm getting the fact that people are saying they're overdoing it. I saw that this morning online. It is what it is. But it's fun, and Utah now will be the last team to not play in one. The Panthers had never played in one until this year. So anyways, that's the opening segment, all on the outdoor game in Florida yesterday. We in South Florida are debating which is better, the Winter Classic in Miami or the Stadium Series game in Tampa. We'll save that debate for the Cats and Bolts podcast and our socials over there, because there's a lot of other things people want to get to today, including Super Bowl 60, CFL Free Agency. Let's just say it's underway. And we do have breaking news from the National Hockey League. Barry Trotz announcing that he is stepping down as general manager of the Nashville Predators, basically as soon as a replacement can be found. I would think that came as a surprise to me, but we'll discuss that with the viewers. The former captain of the Regina Pats, Barry Trotz stepping down as GM in Nashville today. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show. You're enjoying it on Game Plus TV, WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a Monday. We're brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. It's all under the watchful eye of our buddy Tony Plater. That's Outlaw Communications. Okay, Scruffy's with me. We've covered the outdoor game. We're going to move to football. We'll come back to other NHL stuff in a moment and NFL too. But point two of the Quick Six show topics, breaking news from the CFL today. The Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders released veteran kicker Brett Lawther today. The 35-year-old out of Truro, Nova Scotia, was 72.2% on field goals this season, the worst of his 8-year tenure in Saskatchewan. He was entering his 10th CFL season, starting his career in 2013 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Trust me, everybody, we'll get to the rest of free agency in a second. But Lawther released, Mitch, surprised or not?
Yes and no. Brett Lawther had a tough past couple of years. I know he wasn't 100% physically. His wife went through a tough pregnancy. He obviously had some issues away from the field that affected his performance. When Brett Lowther was needed, Brett Lowther made kicks. The playoffs showed that. But I don't think there's any doubt that Brett Lowther's production was not what the football team was looking for. And I think this was a very tough decision for the Riders to make. And I think it's one that probably didn't catch Brett off guard. And maybe Brett asked for this. Brett Lowther isn't the best kicker in Rider history. He's the most accurate one. And sometimes, Roddy, you're going to, wish that what you had. I don't know who the kicker is for this team next year, but he's got some big shoes to fill, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Brett Lowther,
well, of course.
Act.
And absolute class act, really close friend of mine. And I'll say this. When Jeremy O'Day, the Rough Riders general manager, met with the media at the winter meetings in Calgary last month and was asked about the status of Lowther, and he said, he's our kicker today. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
He won't be for long. So I saw this coming weeks ago, and probably my guess is Brett probably saw it coming too. Does he kick again? I'm not sure. I just said he's 35 years of age. It's with my age now, and you might get this. You got me by a couple of years, and you and I have both been shown the door a couple of times. Brett Lowther has now become in that category of former Saskatchewan Roughriders blank. Welcome to the club. It sucks. So it is. Yep. He departs with a ring, great memories. But again, does he kick again? Oh, my guess is if his phone will ring. Does he go to camp with somebody in this summer? I don't know about that, but I don't think he's done unless he wants to be.
I agree with you, and I think if he is done, Rod, he has done so much in this province off the field. They had their charity hockey classic this weekend in Saskatoon that he's helped put together. He's done a lot of touring across the province to help out with literacy and stuff like that. The Riders will find a job for Brett Lowther if his CFL days are done.
Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, hopefully the friend of the show finds a new home and rebounds. Yeah, I'm thinking that we'll get him on. Maybe if not this week, the next. We'll get him on soon. You see, he did great charitable things. His story, dude, he could go out and do motivational speaking. If you ever knew his personal background and his upbringing, he's a winner. Okay, so today's not necessarily a bad day. Now, point 2B is this. CFL Free Agency, let's just say that it's open, okay?
Right.
The CFL's free agency process opened with quite a bang Sunday. The CFL negotiation window, which is what they call the legal tampering window, the time when teams can contact pending free agents and make an offer, opened at noon Eastern on Sunday. What stood out to me from the tidal wave, Mitch? This. Quarterback Jake Mayer to Ottawa, leaving Saskatchewan. Quarterback Trey Ford to Hamilton. He was released by Edmonton Friday. Defensive lineman Malik Carney to Edmonton. Winnipeg signing receiver Tommy Neild and D lineman Jake Seresna. Meanwhile, the Rough Riders held on to running back A.J. Willett. Those are just some. I'll say news flash to the Rider fans that are losing their spit because they're losing half their team. All championship teams get rated. But, Mitch, now with one-year contracts, it's just happening way faster. So you shouldn't be surprised about this, and don't be mad at the players. You do the exact same thing if you were in their shoes. That's my take so far.
I don't disagree with you. And a lot of people are throwing Jeremy O'Day under the bus today because of all the guys that left. Well, funny, as I've said to a few people, you kept A.J. Willett, you kept Trevor Harris, you kept Samuel Lemelis, you kept Jamarcus Hardrick. You kept a lot of guys. You can't keep them all. Well, we lost A.J. Allen and C.J. Rivas. Well, too bad. You can't keep them all.
You're living in the cauldron there, aren't you?
Oh, it's just amazing, Rod. It's just, our good friend Gov on Twitter today, just talking about that. It's embarrassing.
Who?
You supposedly know football. You know how this goes.
I know. Who said this?
Gov, our good friend Gov. Last name, I can't pronounce his last name.
He's not my good friend.
You know who I'm talking about.
He's not my good friend, but continue. Why? Was he upset about something?
Well, he's just laughing at all the people hacking on O'Day today.
What's the day that ends and why? So here's the meme. Right. The riders should get 1 year's grace minimum of bitching. They won't, but history shows. I don't know if it's more or less in the NHL or NFL, but history shows. Saskatchewan Roughriders fired John Gregory 1 year and a half after winning a Grey Cup in '89. Saskatchewan Roughriders fired Corey Chamberlain 1 year and a half after winning a Grey Cup. And by the way, the GM wasn't fired in either case. Not at that point. Eventually, they all do. But again, we all eventually become former Saskatchewan Roughrider blank. And Brett Love is now in the club.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here, Rod, and say that Corey Mace will last more than a year and a half from today. I'm just going to
we all thought that. We all thought that about Gregory and Chamberlain, too.
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's true.
Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, Scruffy's right. Rider fans are a little different. God love them. By the way, we're not banging on them. They're no different than Leaf fans. They're no different than Dolphins fans. In a lot of ways, Cowboys fans. And dare I say, Oilers fans, Rich. Sorry to say it, which, might as well jump into it. I'm getting a little out of order here. I wanted to talk about Super Bowl next, but just with the Oilers putting Calvin Pickard on waivers on the weekend, didn't really surprise me. You knew they weren't going to be able to keep 3. And the story that I read was that he was outplayed by Connor Ingram. From what I see, though, nobody's the second coming of Grant Fuhr up there right now.
No, they're not. And they still have defensive issues. And these people that have all of a sudden gotten on the Evan Bouchard bandwagon that he should be in Milan? No, he shouldn't be, because he is still making too many mistakes. And God, you know how much I love Jack Michaels. On Saturday night, Jack Michaels said, well, you got to put up with some of the mistakes when he's getting the points he is. Sorry, Jack, in Milan, you can't afford to make mistakes the way Evan Bouchard does. And as long as they have Cale Makar to run the power play, you don't need Evan Bouchard. The Zach Hyman argument I can get into, but you don't need Evan Bouchard. And that defense still, it doesn't matter who the goalie is, if it's Jari, if it's Ingram, if it's Skinner, if it's whoever. And you can ask Jason this when you have him on next hour. Can we do something about that defense? Because they are god-awful.
What I say about Oilers fans, they're special too. we're listening to one right now. It's hey, nothing wrong with it. Just special. Okay, that was an inserted Oiler comment because I want to go to this with the Super Bowl. I told you Scruffy's the perfect co-host today. Point 3, Drake May and Sam Darnold will face a different type of blitz at Super Bowl opening night tonight. Here comes the media frenzy when thousands of reporters from across the globe gather for a zany spectacle that kicks off the week's festivities tonight. May and the Patriots take on Darnold and the Seahawks on Sunday at Levi's Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers. First, they will meet more than 6,000 credentialed reporters who will pepper them with questions ranging from the standard football topics to silly and offbeat stuff. Can I quote Greg Bonnert? From the ridiculous to the sublime. What do you think, Scruffzo? Will you be following the coverage tonight out of San Fran?
I'll just look for the sound bites, Roddy, because it's going to be ridiculous. Last time the Seahawks were there, was it the last time they were there or when they won the Super Bowl against Denver when it was Marshawn Lynch? I'm just here so I won't get fined.
I feel like that was Phoenix. No?
I think it was the Super Bowl that they lost to the Patriots. I can't remember. It was one of those.
Yeah, that was Super Bowl 49. And don't get me started, because Marshawn Lynch hosting a podcast now, the guy that didn't want to do interviews, didn't want to be a microphone, now you're a podcast star? Piss off. But anyways,
have you seen Marshawn when he's been on TV doing things like Thursday Night Football and that? You've just got to have the guy sitting there with the beeper button. He's tremendous.
I'm not interested in what he has to say because of that. You wouldn't do interviews as a player, but now you want to be a media star. Oh, okay. But I'll say this.
He's not the only one that's been like that.
Who else?
Oh, there's been a lot of guys who haven't wanted to talk in front of a microphone, and all of a sudden they get their podcast going, and away they go.
Well, I want to know a name, because he's the only one that really stands out to me.
Travis Kelce's never been big on the media until he got the podcast going with his brother.
Okay. That's fair. I just wanted a name. That's all. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I finally figured it out, Mitch. You've known me a long time. I'm a slow learner. But I got an email this morning from USA Today. Click on this link for our story on top Super Bowl storylines. I was almost, wait, I can figure out my own. I don't need to read yours. Mine are probably better. But there's one under the radar story that I want to ask you that nobody's brought up. DeMarcus Lawrence leaving the Dallas Cowboys for the Seahawks in free agency last year. You remember it because you're a Seahawks fan, and I'm a Cowboys fan. And Lawrence, I don't know how this slipped under the radar, but he basically said at the time, that's a circus. I want out. And he's gone on to have a pretty good year in Seattle. I don't know how that went under the radar, but there's a lot of guys. Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Darnold. This should be brought to you by Old Dutch. There's so many chips on guys' shoulders for Seattle going into this Super Bowl.
The DeMarcus Lawrence story is interesting as well, because didn't he get into it with a teammate because he said, I can win a Super Bowl in Seattle and I can't in Dallas?
That's what I'm saying.
And one of his former teammates snapped back at him.
It was Micah Parsons, I think, or Trayvon Diggs, one of, at the time, big name Dallas defensive player. No, but that all went right under the radar. We should go dig that up. But again, you and I are old school media. We talk about what matters, not this stupid crap they're going to talk about tonight at Media Day.
Right. Yeah, so there'll be some questions that'll be, of interest. But wait, how many did you say? 6,000?
Yeah. Yeah,
which you said?
By the way, yes, that's 6,000 media. It'll fill the Agrodome.
Those are not all football journalists. And it's the same way at the Grey Cup and the Stanley Cup. You get, entertainment stuff happening and stuff like that. But, yeah, some of the questions tonight are going to be non-football, and who cares?
It was a rhetorical question. I knew you weren't going to follow it any more than I was. But you haven't even asked me about Tim McGraw yet, and we'll get there. But by the way, Ryan is watching. Ryan in upstate New York writes in, he says, pretty much all of the New York Jets fandom is rooting for Sam Darnold and Leonard Williams on Sunday. Oh, yeah. Well, now you see, who was the DB? Adams came out for the Jets and said they should have given him more time. Former DB. Can't remember his first name. Adams. He was like, should have given him more time. Yeah, Jamal Adams. Sorry. Should have given him more time. A lot of good that does now. So anyways, we still have plenty to get to with the old Scruffzo. We'll be back. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel. We partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
We're brought to you in part by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Saloon. They do our picks weekly for the CFL and NFL. There's only one football game left, Super Bowl 60, and you got to watch it at Pump Jack's Cathedral or Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. By the way, we're close to being able to open this up to questions to the audience. Scruffy is with me. I'll open it up to one. Coach Matt DeBuck is watching in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's originally from Montreal, Scruffy, and he says, hockey question. Will the Habs make a trade for a franchise goalie or stay with the law group they currently have? That's the law group of Montembeault, Fowler, and Dobish. No, it's Dobish, Montembeault, and Fowler. That sounds more like a law firm, doesn't it? No, they just fired their goalie coach. That's going to solve all the problems. You think they'll get a goalie?
If they get a goaltender, it's going to be in a short-term deal because Jacob Fowler is the future, and that kid's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be
from
Carey
Melbourne,
Price,
Florida.
Patrick Waugh good, but he's going to be good. Hey, you mentioned it, so I got to bring it up. Did you have flashbacks of Craven last night when Tim McGraw walked into the room?
Nah, I don't think it, Craven. But I think you will get a kick out of this. I was sitting in the press box 90 minutes to 2 hours before the opening faceoff last night. An announcement came. John Cooper will be available to the media at 5:15, followed by Tim McGraw. I went, whoop, whoop, and I jumped up. I was sitting beside, I'm like, I just talked to John Cooper yesterday. Tim McGraw? Let's go. And so it was he came in with a walking boot. And to be honest, I didn't know where to talk about it because this ain't an entertainment show. But he was asked about, coming to sing at the outdoor game in Tampa and why. He goes, well, I come from a sports family. I don't know if any of you know that. I'm like, oh, your dad's Tug McGraw, the former Major League pitcher. I know because I'm a stalker. I know all your songs. I was that guy in the front row. So, yeah, Craven, no. I try not to think about that. Don't remember much of it anyways. But what did you think of the concert?
I thought it was all right. He did some of his old songs, which was great. It was good. I'd probably rather see that than what I'll see at halftime on Sunday in San Francisco. But I'm more of a country guy than a Bad Bunny guy, so,
I know. Well, that's the thing. How do you feel about musical acts at sporting events? I like them if I like the music. I thought it was great, which goes back to the Miami versus Tampa outdoor games. None of us knew who the singer was. I still don't know who the singer was for the Miami show, for the game. But we all know who McGraw is. So I was a little disappointed he didn't wear a cowboy hat. But again, I'm the ultimate you do you guy. So if Tim doesn't wear a cowboy hat, he didn't have to wear a cowboy hat. I was just a little
Faith with
disappointed,
him?
but I get it. Faith was not there. Nope, I don't know what she was doing. Point 4, while we're here, Barry Trotz is stepping down as general manager of the Nashville Predators after nearly 3 years on the job. The decision is not health-related, and Trotz will stay on until a successor is named. That did not come out of the blue to me today, although I didn't see it coming either. I'll say this about Barry Trotz. Again, the Winnipeg product and former captain of God's team, the Regina Pats. It just hasn't gone well for him in Nashville, Mitch. And let's be honest, some guys are coordinators and not head coaches. I guess some guys are head coaches and not GMs. That's Barry Trotz has nothing to hang his head about. Number 5 all-time in NHL games coached. Stanley Cup winner with Washington as a coach. It's not working in Nashville. And I know a lot of people that work for the Preds. They all love Barry Trotz. They said he's got a far different style than his predecessor, David Poile. I guess he'd rather step down than fire the coach is the first thing that pops into my head. Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah, probably. But the thing that gets me is that the Nashville Predators, after a terrible start, they're on the cusp of a playoff spot. So why now is he making this decision? And I guess obviously he's stepping down once a new guy is hired. So I'm guessing that will be after the trade deadline and maybe after the season. But the Nashville Predators might very well make the playoffs unless they decide to get rid of guys like Ryan O'Reilly and Steven Stamkos and UC Saros. But I just sort of, I look at the standings and go, they're not out of it yet, are they?
No. We're just past that. Well, actually, what are we at? We're at the 60% mark. Okay. You said the playoffs drive begins after the Olympics. Are you staying on that? You still feel that way?
Yep. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so nobody's really out of it versus nobody's really running away with it either. No, I'm with you. But again, there's what we see, and then there's what's actually going on, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No,
to be honest with you,
agreed.
I've been around Nashville quite a bit. They were here for the rookie tournament a couple of years ago. Barry, to me, just never seemed real comfortable in the role as a general manager. And at his age, he's not going back coaching now. I think he's just said, you know what am I doing? That's just a sense that I get. Knowing him, watching him, knowing people that he works for, he got nothing to hang his head about. By the way,
going to see Buffalo tonight?
Yeah, I'll be there. Are you kidding me? You have a chance to go to a hockey game? I'm going. Which reminds me,
that's a good team.
Brent,
I really like the way the Sabres are constructed right now.
We're going to have a rodeo of a Cats and Bolts podcast this week, Panthers and Lightning show, because they're upset here. I don't want to make this the Panthers Florida show, although we got a lot of Florida people watching. For instance, Brent, my Cats and Bolts podcast co-host, is watching. He says Tim McGraw was pretty epic as well compared to whoever that guy was in Miami. LOL. There's a lot of heat on the Panthers, Mitch, and here's the big difference. Not that you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you. The Lightning fans are very mature. They're very gracious. They've been really good to me, even though they kind of see me as the Panther guy. Whereas the Panther fans, they lose 2-3 in a row. People stop going to the games. They're bitching out Bob. They're bitching out Paul Maurice. I'm like, what? And I don't know why that is.
Well, you should be used to that from your CFL days here.
Fickle fans. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Rider fans are still fans. The Panthers fans, they'll stop watching. They'll go to Heat games.
That's true.
Or Dolphin games. They will check out. The Rider fans don't check out. They just love to bitch.
Where's out once the 55-yard line goes, they'll tell you that.
Them and Ann Murray. That's still coming up. For those that weren't tuned in last week, Ann Murray's behind bringing a pro women's hockey team to Halifax, but she's never been to a CFL Touchdown Atlantic. What the hell's wrong with her? She's never sang at Grey Cup. She hates the CFL. Am I doing it right? Being canceling people. By the way,
I'm surprised that hasn't hit 3 Down Nation yet. Former
Anne Murray hates.
play-by-play man criticizes Anne Murray.
No, it should be Anne Murray hates the CFL. I don't need to be brought into it at all. I would rather just start it and walk away.
You're the one that's bringing it up, so that's what. But yeah, I know where you're coming from.
Quickly, okay, 2 minutes. What's your other storylines for the Super Bowl?
Run the ball from the 1 yard line. That's obviously that. How many times are we going to see that play? Have we seen it the past week? How many times will we see it leading up to the game? I'm sure that NBC is going to have a Malcolm Butler feature at some point.
Where are they now?
Exactly. I think that's sort of the overwhelming storyline, is that Seattle obviously should have beaten New England 13 years ago. They didn't because of obviously the biggest brain cramp in the history of the Super Bowl. Can they recover from that, playing the same team? Sam Darnold's story is obviously one that's tremendous. And you talk about the Jets. I wonder how they feel in Minnesota about Sam Darnold being where he is. Because I'll tell you right now, the Vikings or the Seahawks wouldn't be in the Super, would have had completely different seasons had Sam stayed in Minneapolis. And Drake May and Mike Vrabel, those are two great stories as well. Mike Vrabel, outstanding head coach. Drake May is second year doing what he's doing. Nobody's going to talk about Drake May in the same breath they talk about Tom Brady, but if he wins, he's beside Brady as far as quarterbacks to get them there. So there's a lot of stories.
I'm making notes for after you adjourn, which is right now. You bring up some great points. Okay, Mitch, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for this. I will. Jason Gregor coming up from Sports 1440 in Edmonton. When we come back, a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. The text line's open for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033, or get your comments in on the YouTube chat. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Oh, you're going to love this next segment for the next. A lot of great Canadian sports topics, and then the sports update, and then viewer takeover. The junior hockey report, we do it every day for the Mad Greek Eatery. The Regina Pats snapped a 3-game skid in style on Sunday, rallying for an impressive 3-2 come-from-behind victory over the Moose Jaw Warriors at the Brent Center in a storm-delayed game. It improved the Pats to 4-0-1 against their Highway 1 rivals, but despite the loss, Warriors goalie Chase Wutzke was outstanding, stopping 49 shots to earn first star honors. Pats Warriors, it don't get better. Although Panthers Lightning are getting there, and that's coming up in our topics here from the viewers, but our junior hockey report's brought to you by the Mad Greek. Experience authentic Greek flavors. He's good. Right in Moose Jaw at the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. Sports update, Team Canada's Carrie Anerson won her 5th Scotties Tournament of Hearts title on Sunday in Mississauga, Ontario, stealing a point in the 11th end to edge Caitlin Laws of Winnipeg 4-3 in the final. Anerson and her Manitoba-based team will represent Canada at the next month's Women's World Curling Championship in Calgary. The Arizona Cardinals have hired Mike LaFleur as head coach, turning to a division rival's offensive coordinator to try to pull the NFL franchise out of the bottom of the NFC West. The Cardinals made the announcement Sunday. The 38-year-old LA Rams assistant replaces Jonathan Gannon, who was fired last month. If his name sounds familiar, it should. He's the younger brother of Packers coach Matt LaFleur. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? Of course you are. Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. That's where real fans get their gear, and that's where I get mine. Oh, where to start? We got so much good stuff here, and if you're looking for the CFL talk, we did cover it earlier in the second segment, a lot of it. The highlights of the opening of CFL Free Agency. And the release of Brett Lauther by the Saskatchewan Roughriders today. There's breaking news there. Barry Trotz stepping down as GM of the Nashville Predators, or at least once his replacement is found. But anyways, from the text line, it's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Wilf writes in Steinbach, Manitoba, and he says, he goes, "Hi, Rod and Scruffy. The circus went to Florida for the winter. The Tampa Bay game was a well-executed circus type of event featuring a goalie fight. Was it staged?" Okay. You're a great guy, and this ain't a fight, not even an argument. But it is a debate, and it's a discussion. I'll say this. As I was leaving the rink, football stadium last night, checked my Twitter, and I saw our good friend James Duthie from TSN tweeting, if you had never seen a hockey game before and you peered in on this as your first hockey game, what? So Wilf isn't entirely wrong. Okay? Fireworks, flyover. One coach is dressed as a Colombian drug lord. The goalies are fighting. One team's coming in dressed as a football team. The other's coming in dressed in costume as Patriots and Quakers. It kind of did look like a circus. But what I will say is this, Wilf. Who doesn't love the circus? Except for the people that canceled it. But I digress. It was amazing. And the goalie fight was not staged. It's one of the few things I can speak on with authority as a member of the goalie union. Two things led to that fight with Andre Vasilevsky and Jeremy Swayman last night. Number one, Vasilevsky's countryman, Sergei Bobrovsky, got all this notoriety 2 weeks ago for doing the exact same thing against San Jose. So you knew that it was in the back of Vasilevsky's mind. If the opportunity ever presented itself, I'm doing it. Been there. 2, the second that Jeremy Swayman took a blocker to one of the Lightning forwards, that was the cue. So just like 2 weeks ago on that Monday night, January 19th, or whatever the night of the national championship was of college football, we're sitting there in Sunrise. I'm sitting with Peter Micheludi, used to run the Sudbury Wolves for years. And I'm watching this scrum down in the corner. He's elbowing me. Here comes Bob. Here comes Bob. I'm like, what? I'm fumbling for my phone to get it to video that fight. And last night, I knew. The second Swayman came out and blocked that guy outside the crease, I'm looking down at the other end for Vasilevsky, and away he came. And I'm elbowing Brent right beside me. And I'm like, here comes Vazzy. Here comes Vazzy. And the fight wasn't nearly as good as Bob's, but it was still good. And it's over all the highlights today. So it's the argument that we have in sports, frankly, between the marketers and the actual hockey operations or football operations people. The coaches would rather just have the game within the boards and within the rules. That's what they would rather have. And the marketers would rather have a circus. Last night they met. And even John Cooper said after the game, games like that don't come around very often. So again, Wilf, does that answer your question? There is no way that it was staged. And even when Bob jumped in the melee here in Sunrise, I was standing right beside him from me to you away when he said their goalie went over the line. He actually went so far as to say that Nedeljkovic mocked the Panthers, which I don't think that he did, but he was the 6th player in a 5-on-5 incident, so Bob came down to even it up. So that's how hockey players think. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Oh, Coach DeBuck writes that he says, how many Panthers are out, or is it 3 years, over 20% more games? And are they out of gas? Well, here's the problem with the Panthers. Don't you be one of those Florida hockey fans, Coach, that's jumping off the bandwagon. Now's not the time. Coaches of all people should realize peaks and valleys. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. You got an entire all-star roster on the injured list. And Brad Marchand, Seth Jones, Alexander Barkov, it's injuries. Come on, you know that. 902-518-3033. The problem is we get ready for the Olympics. Half the team's going to the Olympics. Fortunately, the Russians will get a break, including Bob, but that's what happens when you're a great team. They'll be fine. They have their core locked up long-term. But I get it. The Panthers are 8 points out of a playoff spot, just like the Winnipeg Jets. So some of these teams aren't going to make it, but now's not the time. Panthers aren't going to be selling off. From the text line, Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hello, Reverend Rod and Minister Mitch. Brett freaking Lowther for life. Saskatchewan Roughriders cut their 8-year veteran kicker Brett Lowther this morning. And there was a province in mourning. Also, a lot of people celebrating. But he goes on to say, also, I may be in the minority, but am amped for the Pro Bowl flag game Tuesday night. Wish the CFL did this in the offseason. Buzz. And he goes on to say, Olympics, y'all. Signed Vintage Sasko. What is going on tomorrow night? In my world, not that much. So, yeah, I guess I'll probably watch the Pro Bowl flag games. The All-Star game wasn't even that good back in the day when it was tackle. So what's the difference now? Tuesday of Super Bowl week is the Pro Bowl games in San Francisco. There's nothing else going on, so I'll watch it. That's not an indictment of the Pro Bowl games or of sports in general. If there was something else on, I would watch that. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in, and he says, I don't remember Barry Trotz as being captain of the Regina Pats. During Barry's 3 seasons with the Pats, Doug Wickenheiser, Bill Ansel, and Garth Butcher were the captains, although Barry may have been an assistant captain his last season. Laverne, nobody's called more Regina Pats games than me. What do you need me to send you a photo of him wearing a C? Is that what you'd like? Because I'll get it. Wayne writes in from Victoria, BC. He says, I didn't know that much about Sam Darnold until he went to Seattle with the Seahawks, but I was surprised that he's only 28 years old. For some reason, I thought he had been around longer and was in his 30s. Go Seahawks, go. You know, it's funny with our audience here being that we owns the 55-plus age demographic across Canada and moving into America in that demographic. You guys should have the ability, like me, and I'm not even in that demographic, to look back with wisdom at all we've been through. Like, look at these teams. Like, I'm sitting back as an observer, chortling and almost chuckling at the New York Jets, not their fans, but at the Jets and the former players, like you say, Jamel Adams, that's come out saying, oh, where would we be with this guy? We gave up on him too early, i.e. How many coaching staffs ago was that with the Jets? Did Robert Saleh coach him? Ryan in upstate New York, tell me, you're the Jets fan among us. It's just, it's sports. Now, but having said all that, Drake May in year 2 has the Patriots in the Super Bowl, which reminds me, I'll have to carry this over into next hour, but you're in America, you're in a football stadium like we were last night watching a hockey game. There's going to be media talking about football, even at a hockey game. And they were talking about these Patriots, and they were saying how this isn't a great matchup because, it's the same old Patriots. No, it's not. Now with Drake May at quarterback, where's Tom Brady? Nowhere to be found. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, yeah, he was on the field the last time they were in the Super Bowl. Now he's coaching. Big difference. Will writes in and says, thanks, Rod. The circus was entertaining. I enjoyed it. And that's the thing. We spoke with the NHL people. We got the direction. It ain't hard for me to be positive about the National Hockey League because everything they do, I love. Some other leagues, and you know them, I'll criticize them along the way. It's not that I don't love them, but I don't know. It's just easy for me to support everything the NHL does, including a circus like we saw last night in Tampa Bay. It was so much fun. Who doesn't love the circus? Jason Gregor joins us next hour from Edmonton. We'll be back after this break here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Oh, we're starting a brand new week. We got the fact checkers after us already, which is good. We're throwing all the ideas and stories on the table. It's what we do every day here on the Rod Pedersen Show as we welcome viewers across Nevada. Happy Super Bowl week, by the way. We're on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We're also, of course, on Game Plus TV across Canada and 33 U.S. states. Ta-da! Remind me, if we have time this hour, to get into some of the analytics and ratings information that we have of this program. It'll knock your socks off. It'll curl your hair, if you have any. And, our guest coming up this program today in the second segment is Jason Gregor from Sports 1440 Edmonton to talk all kinds of things. Obviously, the Edmonton Oilers. We have a whole heck of NHL news to get to. Breaking news, actually, I'll get to that before we jump into the quick six show topics. Barry Trotz is stepping down as the general manager of the NHL's Nashville Predators. Year 3 on the job for Trotzy. And as I said earlier, we're getting the fact checkers after us. I said he was the captain of the Regina Pats. Got a guy that this is the team that I was with for 20 years. Wrote in and said, I don't think he was the captain. He was there from 1979 to 1982, a former Notre Dame Hound out of Winnipeg. They rotated the captaincy, I'm told, in his last season. So, yeah. We did have a big wall in the office called the Captain's Wall. Pretty sure that I saw his photo on it. But, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a big football week, but we're opening with hockey with the quick six show topics. Point 1, Nikita Kucherov scored the tying goal in the third period. Jake Gensel scored the only goal in the shootout, and the Tampa Bay Lightning rallied from a 4-goal deficit to beat the Boston Bruins 6-5 in front of 64,617 fans at NHL Stadium Series game at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Sunday night. It was a late night getting home. Thank you, Brent from Wellington, Florida, who's become my co-host on the Cats and Bolts podcast. He was the wheel man, and we were there with those 64,615 fans. And let's hear it. I'll be honest, for the Nevada viewers, I feel bad for them because this fall when we went to air in Nevada, I looked into, could we ever have an outdoor game in Nevada? We'll never say never, but not currently, because the home of the Raiders, Allegiant Stadium, has a roof on it, a permanent roof. UNLV outdoor stadium is condemned, and I guess they could play it in the ballpark, but it's currently being constructed. The reason I bring this all up is you just got to go. And I went to my first outdoor game in 2019 at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Jets and Flames. It was amazing. And then here on, January the 2nd, we had it in Miami, the Winter Classic between the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers. No, it wasn't a great game. The Rangers won that one 5-2, but it was great. They made it snow inside Lone Depot Park. That was pretty cool. Last night, my phone was blowing up. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just so grateful to have been able to be there. Thank you, National Hockey League, and all the hockey fans that watch this program and enjoy the hockey talk. It makes it a lot easier for us. There was a goalie fight in the second period. Andrei Vasilevsky finished with 29 saves. The TSN turning point in the game was when Vasilevsky skated the length of the ice and got in a fight with Boston Bruins goalie Jeremy Swayman. It had it all. The Boston Bruins were up 5-1. Look, if you had to do check marks, the game in Tampa was way better than the Miami game. Way better. The Bruins jumped out to a 5-1 lead, and then the Lightning stormed back and won it, and it was shootout. It was their largest comeback victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning in franchise history. And then John Cooper, the head coach of the Lightning, by now you've seen all the videos of it, right? He was dressed as a Colombian drug lord with a fedora and chains. And I don't know, forgive me for my movie lore, but was it Scarface? He looked like Al Pacino in one of those movies. Whatever it was, that was the whole idea. And I'm sitting there going, as it's like, well, the Lightning scored 11 seconds into the game, 1-0. And then it was 1-1. Bing. 2-1 Boston. Bing. 3-1 Boston. Bing. 4-1. I'm like, oh my God, Cooper's going to rip that fedora off, stomp it into the ground. But no, the goalie comes down the ice. Vasilevsky gets in a fight and all of a sudden turn the game on a dime. And the Lightning come back and win it. So anyways, the poll question is this. We're asking the viewers, was it the greatest NHL outdoor game of all time? And frankly, I'm seeing a lot of NHL staff, NHL broadcasters that were in the venue last night in Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium, taking it upon themselves to get in fights with the viewers and the fans about whether it was, whether it wasn't. Is it hokey? You know, Wilf here in Steinbach, Manitoba, wrote in and said, well, the circus has gone to Florida for the winter. That was a circus. Yes, it was. And who doesn't love the circus? Let me put it to you that way. It's a dicey thing here in South Florida to go back and forth between which game was better, the Miami game or the Tampa game. The spectacle, what happened on the ice. I got to say it's Tampa. The game was great. The player intros were a little cheesy. The Panthers won that one when they all rolled up in Ferraris and Miami Vice outfits. And that was great. But it's just awesome, and I got to applaud the NHL. I could sit here for the whole opening segment and talk about John Cooper specifically. I haven't even talked really about Tim McGraw yet. Had the chance to interview him before the game. It was just an event. That's the whole idea. It's an event. It's not just a hockey game. And that's where the coaches and the marketing people butt heads, because the coaches would rather just play a hockey game. And the marketing people are like, well, we would rather sell tickets and make money. That's kind of what we're doing here. We are a business. But John Cooper, the day before the game, wandering around in a toque and a tracksuit and just starry-eyed, he's like, this is like the North. This is like when we couldn't get enough of playing outside, when our parents had to drag us off the ice. It's that amazing. And see why I'm saying it would be real nice if our Vegas viewers and hockey fans there could experience that. And my guy, Dennis Bernstein, whose wife, Patty, watches this show regularly in Los Angeles on Game Plus TV. I learned that at the Winter Classic. Hey, Patty, missed you in Tampa. But he said these outdoor games are addicting. And I'm like, right? They so are. So now I want to go to everyone. We're checking the schedule. Going to Dallas next year with the Golden Knights there. $64,000, as I said. It was the most expensive ticket they've ever had for an outdoor game. I saw that report, but I got to say, was anybody leaving there last night upset with the entertainment factor? No. So it just worked out real great. Kevin the Medium writes in, says, good morning, RP peeps. Hey, Kev, make yourself comfortable. We're getting into it here, talking about the outdoor game last night. It was the best ever. Let me just go back here for a sec and see what the result of the poll is. 58% say no. Well, I'm saying yes, but that's okay. It's a free country. That's why we have a vote. It's called the democracy. And for those that are voting no, they're saying that it is the very first one, which I think we all watched in Buffalo. Penguins, Sabres, the Snow Globe, Sidney Crosby scoring in a shootout. Chief Johnny Moe is watching in Winnipeg and says, viewership for the Stadium Series? Question mark. We don't know yet, but I'll tell you what, Sunday night, prime time, no football going on. My guess is it'll be immense. By the way, Brent writes in and says, hey, have you said your picks for tonight yet? No, but you know what? Now would be a good time before I switch to Super Bowl 60 in the NFL. Now would be a good time. Islanders at Capitals tonight. I'm out on Washington. Islanders. Buffalo at Florida. A lot of heat on the Cats right now. I'll take Florida. Ottawa at Pittsburgh tonight. The Penguins are on a roll, baby. Crosby has rolled back the clock. Take the Pens. Montreal at Minnesota. That might be the game of the night. I think I got to go with the Wild. It doesn't make me feel good. St. Louis at Nashville tonight. A definite Predators victory. Look what happened in Buffalo when the GM left. Probably similar thing will happen in Nashville tonight. The players feel guilty. They'll go out and roll over the Blues. That's my lock of the night, brought to you by Master Locks. Winnipeg at Dallas. Sorry, Winnipeg. I think you know what that means. San Jose at Chicago. Definite Sharks battling for a playoff spot. Chicago is not. Detroit at Colorado. The Avalanche motorboated them the other night, and they will again tonight. Vancouver at Utah. Anybody beats Vancouver. Oh, and the game of the night is Toronto at Calgary in a battle of non-playoff teams. Flames, they don't lose at home. See? Kirk writes in, he says, Sid the Kid is lighting it up. Yes, he is. He's rolling back the clock. How about Sid crying the other night? Was that just yesterday? A lot's happened in the last 24 hours. When they honored the 2016 Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins, Sid was crying. I mean, hey, there's my picks. You asked, you're welcome. Moving on. I'm going to throw this out there just for our large Canadian viewership. News out of the Canadian Football League today. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders, released veteran kicker Brett Lowther this morning. The 35-year-old from Truro, Nova Scotia, had his worst professional season, 72.2% on field goals last year. The worst of his 8-year tenure in Sask. He was entering his 10th CFL season and still may, after starting his career in 2013 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I addressed this last hour, and I will again, similar to the Trotsy thing, Crosby getting emotional, and with Brett. It's been a great career. Is it over here? I don't think so. He's a good friend of mine. He'll be on this show in the next few weeks. I'll guarantee you that. But it's tough. When the general manager a couple of weeks ago at the winter meetings was asked, is Brett Lowther still your kicker? He said, today he is. Okay. I would have called U-Haul then. Great career. Won the Grey Cup. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Easy to say. But he is now in the group of former Saskatchewan Roughrider blank. Welcome to the club. And as far as CFL free agency goes, we went deep into it last hour on the Canadian Hour. I'll just say this so that are upset. Those Saskatchewan fans, you're losing all your players. This is what happens when you win a championship. And now that all the contracts are only 1 year, it's happening faster. Point 3, Drake May and Sam Darnold will face a different type of blitz at Super Bowl opening night. Here comes the media frenzy when thousands of reporters from across the globe gather for a zany spectacle that kicks off the week's festivities tonight. May and the New England Patriots take on Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks Sunday at Levi's Stadium, home of the 49ers. First, they'll meet more than 6,000 credentialed reporters tonight who will pepper them with questions ranging from the standard football topics to silly and offbeat stuff. Been to multiple Super Bowls, never went to that because it's just as big of a circus as what it sounds. We'll just leave that be. Probably not even going to follow that tonight. As I said, I'm going to be at the Sabres-Panthers game tonight. What is more interesting to me is the Super Bowl storylines. Like I said, I had the email from USA Today this morning saying top Super Bowl storylines. I almost clicked on it. I'm like, wait, I've done this before. I can come up with the storylines myself. Mine are probably better than yours. And in no particular order, to me, it's DeMarcus Lawrence, who Scruffy pointed out or remembered last hour with me because he's a Seahawks fan. When DeMarcus Lawrence left the Cowboys in free agency this time last year, he said, I'll never win a Super Bowl in Dallas. That went so far under the radar, and I don't know why. And here's DeMarcus Lawrence in the Super Bowl. Almost makes me want to cheer for him. But I'm going to be cheering for the Patriots, however. And I don't like to always be the contrarian. Somehow I end up always being the contrarian. I like this story of Mike Vrabel becoming the first ever head coach to win a championship as a player and a coach with the same team. Now, as a friend of mine, let's call him Devin, informed me, and this is, I should have known this, but I guess Ditka did it in the old American Football League with Chicago, then won a Super Bowl with the Bears. They were different franchises, same town. Let's just go with Vrabel being the first. That's a hell of a story. Cooper Kupp's redemption after being shown the door in L.A., that had to hurt him. The talk last night in the press box at the outdoor hockey game was of this matchup, and somebody said, it's the same old Patriots. Boring matchup. I'm like, no. And that's what's great about these articles on the top storylines. They really get you interested and hyped. As if the Super Bowl needs any more hype. But for anybody to say this is not a good matchup, you don't have to dig too far to get some really good stories. Oh, and then with the entertainment, I will just say this. I was the person, too, that said, why do we need dancing bears and a circus? Why do we need that? Why do we need to bring in musical acts? Why can't we just play the game? But I'll tell you what, having the opportunity to interview Tim McGraw, yep. I was in country music heaven prior to the outdoor game last night, and he was in heaven, too. What a great guy, Tim McGraw. We'll talk about that more a little later, too. Said it was a no-brainer when the NHL asked him, would you like to come sing at the outdoor game? I'm in. Cool guy. Was wearing a walking boot. Didn't have the cojones to ask him why. But, he said growing up where he did in Mississippi, there was no hockey. So he's excited to learn. Isn't it something what an open mind will do? It's wild. Jason Gregor joins us next from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Super Bowl, NHL, CFL. That's what we like to talk here, and he's the perfect guy. When we come back, we're across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and, of course, across Canada on the Game Plus TV network in 33 states.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Just a reminder, from trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or shop online at westerndodge.ca. They bring you our text line, 902-518-3033. Jason Gregor joining us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. And hey, Jason, good to see you, my friend. Before we get to the outdoor game last night and your thoughts, Barry Trotz announcing he's stepping down as GM in Nashville once they find a replacement. That catch you off guard or no?
Yeah, a little bit. A little surprising, but obviously, there's something going on when you consider the timing of this. That, hopefully it's nothing, family related. He said he would stay on board, but, maybe there's some different of opinions in the organization. If he wasn't going to be the guy past this year, then you should never have a GM who's kind of dead man walking be the GM who works at the trade deadline, because that's one of the busiest times of the year. So, timing here, I hope it's nothing health-wise. And if it is, well, then obviously health and family obviously is number one priority. But, yeah, you hadn't heard rumblings at all. Barry's been very outspoken about kind of his plan and what he wanted to do with the Nashville Predators, and how, I know he was asked specifically about Ryan O'Reilly, and it said, hey, it depends, and which is the right answer. Like, if you get to the trade deadline and you're not in it, well, then, of course, you have to look at every possible option for your team to trade. So, it's unfortunate. Barry's one of the nicest guys I met for many years around the league. And if he doesn't come back to the NHL, he'll definitely be missed.
Right. Well, as you say, one of the most respected men in the game. Probably more to the story, but we wish him well. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, the Gregor Show makes that long commute from downtown home to St. Albert much more bearable. So you got fans here, Jason, which should come as no surprise to you. But the outdoor game in Tampa last night, what did you think? Our viewers are calling it a circus. I said, hey, who doesn't like circuses? What'd you think?
Well, what do you mean circus? Like, it's called entertainment. The game was unbelievable. That was probably the best outdoor game the league's ever had. What the hell are you talking about? Who's complaining about that game? It had a big lead by Boston early. They're playing great, and then you have a comeback. You have a goalie fight with two of the best goalies in the NHL. You know what? That game had everything. You have John Cooper, who, if there was an award for best dressed in the NHL, Coop's winning it last night. Like, that was unreal. You know what? That looked like a young Rod Pedersen back in the 80s with that much chest hair showing and shirt unbuttoned down to his navel. But I loved it. I thought everything about that game, like, are people complaining because there is you have musicians and stuff? It's supposed to be a spectacle. That's what makes it different. I loved it. I thought it was the best outdoor game the NHL's ever had.
Well, Wilfen Steinbach specifically is the guy, and he thought that the goalie fight was staged. And I said for two reasons it wasn't. Number one, Vasilevsky saw Bob do it 2 weeks ago and get all the pub. And so he's waiting for an opportunity. And number two, the second that Swayman came out and blocked the Lightning player, Vazzy was going to jump in. There was nothing staged about it.
No, not staged at all. The blocker is a weapon, man. Like,
yes.
To me, if you punch a guy with a blocker on, that should be extra penalty. I'm being honest. There's way more damage. Like, that thing is like a brick when you hit someone with it. Now, and the one thing, like, Vasi could throw lefts pretty good there. So it was, I didn't mind that at all. And, hey, he's a big dude, man. So I give Swayman credit. Like, Swayman didn't hesitate at all to go out there and do it. And staged or not, who cares? It was entertainment. I loved it. It was a great game.
Yes, it was. It was. And the other thing was nice because it was about 16, 17 Celsius for the Miami game. There was a lot of bitching about, that's not a winter classic. It was cold-ish in Tampa last night. Did that come across on the TV?
Well, yeah, like cold for out there for sure, right? Like you look at in Charlotte, they're not even allowing fans at their AHL game this past weekend because no one can get there. Like these communities aren't built. They're not used to it. I know Canadians like to act like we're all tough, and trust me, like I hate -30. Rod, you live in Saskatchewan. No one loves -30. You just know how to deal with it. Now, -20, whatever, I can wear a T-shirt. But when, weather like that adds to it for sure, I had no problem with it. And, the fact that earlier this year they had it in markets, I've always said the outdoor game is mainly for the home team and their fans to get to experience it because it's a different experience. And so when they have it in different markets next year, like it doesn't have to appeal to everybody, right? Once people get over that, it's like the same people who whine every year, oh, the Australian game isn't competitive. Yeah, no bleep, Sherlock. Of course it isn't competitive. It isn't supposed to be.
Viewer Brent writes in, he says, I thought it was a fun game to watch. Tampa wouldn't have come back if it wasn't for the penalties, though. Well, they were deserved for sure. Just Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, I'm so old, I remember when the Russians wouldn't fight. Now the Russian goalies are chucking knuckles. I love it. Let's pause for a second and observe that. That's an amazing observation.
It is, back when they left the ice against the Broad Street. But now that was a different time. And
they're going home.
And but they did come back. And to me, like, hey, Russians have always been tough, man. To have to grow up and endure in that society, and then to come over here, a totally different culture shock. Like, there's not many Canadians. Like, you have to go play in the U.S. It's not that much different, right? Like, it's guys who go play in the KHL. I talk to Canadians all the time, or Americans who go there. It's a vastly different lifestyle. So, something to be said about it. But he is bang on. They weren't chucking knuckles back then. Not necessarily that they weren't tough. They just didn't know how to do it.
We were stopping pucks. These guys are pretty good at it too. Bob and Vazzy, two of the best in the game. Yeah, I love it all. Yeah. I love it all. Okay, so just one thing to the Oilers, because God knows you talk enough Oilers, but with Calvin Pickard, Chet's his brother, Calvin getting put on waivers this weekend, was it as simple as he was the third out of the three and somebody had to go?
Yeah, it's that simple. The timing is interesting. You do it now because if he gets, I think this is a situation where you can't send the roster freeze obviously on Wednesday, and you don't want to send Pickard down there. Like, this is going to be tough if he has to go down to the minors. I wonder if they'll just give him some time to not have to report and take a week off, because most of these guys had trips planned with their families, right? So that'll be the one aspect that's difficult. And who knows, maybe he'll get claimed by somebody. I don't think it's a lock. I think it's a decent possibility when you look at some teams and their goalie concerns for sure. So we'll see where they go from here. But yeah, it just came down to, Rod, that they were going with Ingram and Jari.
Yeah, from the Barflies writes, and he says, wouldn't Tampa be screwed if Vasilevsky took one on the chin and sidelined with a concussion? Well, he didn't, so don't worry about it. That same Rich in Edmonton writes, and he says, the Oil needs to stop giving up so many grade A chances, but Jari seems to be out of position. I didn't even get it out of my mouth. You have thoughts on that?
Dude, they've allowed 25 goals in the last 5 games. Somehow they've won 3 of them. Offense is never the issue in Edmonton. It's defense. And guess what? It's defense of their best players. They're giving up too many goals against when their best guys are on the ice. Tristan Jari, he's made 4 appearances in those 5 games, Rod. And he's allowed, and I'm just talking 5-on-5 numbers, and he allowed 10 goals, but he's still a +3 in goals saved above expected. Like, what? That means he's making that many saves because they're giving up too many chances. And he said it after the game, right? Like, they're giving up too many quality chances. Like, Edmontonians and Oilers fans need to wake up. If you're going to blame goalies again, hi, Stuart Skinner says hello. Y'all wanted to blame him for everything. It's only Stuart Skinner, only Stuart Skinner. Well, Stuart Skinner's not here. And, magically, their goals against hasn't suddenly changed. It did for a while when the team played well, and Edmonton still has that tendency to want to get loose. Now, you want to get loose defensively in January, that's fine. right? They've proven that they can be sound defensively in the playoffs, and you do need your goalie to win you some games. Skinner did win you some games. He had a few tough games as well, no debating that. But overall, the number one issue on the Oilers has been consistency defensively. When they play it, and they've proven they can, then they're really hard to beat. Because if you play a patient game, Rod, eventually you'll get a chance to score, and McDavid and Draisaitl are two of the best in the league. There's no team that has a 1-2 punch in the NHL like them. So if you commit to playing sound defensively, eventually the chances will come your way. I'd take those odds. And Edmonton's done that. Like, watch them beat Vegas and Dallas in the playoffs the last few years, right? They play good defensively, and then they just outscore them. But right now, they're playing leaky defensively.
Florida plays that way, and look at the results of which you speak. Hey, this goes always far too fast. So I'm going to switch to Super Bowl now. I could talk hockey with you all day. But Super Bowl 60, Patriots-Seahawks, do you like the matchup? What are you looking forward to?
I never mind the matchup. Who's ever in it, hey, you won your way in. I don't care who you played in the regular season. I don't care who you played in the playoffs. You won your way in. So I'm kind of going for the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have been the best team all year long in the NFL. And, the Sam Darnold story is pretty interesting to me. The fact that, that vaunted draft class and he can be the first one to win. And this guy was drugged through the mud. People thought he was a dog after New York and after Carolina. And even last year, because he didn't win a game in Minnesota, they're all like, this guy's terrible. Can't win the big game. Well, he's been pretty good in the playoffs this year, I'll say. So I like the Seahawks. I just think the Seahawks, top to bottom, on both sides of the ball are better.
Just out of pure curiosity, just as a fan of yours and a friend of yours, I want your take on the Belichick thing and the fact that he was snubbed in his first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame.
I'm probably a bit different than others. I think the self-absorbing over the Hall of Fame gets me a little tiring after a while. Like, who gives a bleep for the 99.99% of us who's in or not? Is Bill Belichick going to get in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Did he cheat? Yes. Both things are true. Who cares that he didn't get in the first year, right? And Mike Sando, who's one of the voters, he's got the sanest outline. Go read his articles. He's outlined, the new voting process probably is why he didn't get in his first year. But again, Rod, you know lots of people, when you walk around and, hey, so-and-so is in the Hall, do you ever say, are you a first ballot Hall of Famer? Did you get in the second year? No one talks about it. So everybody can get all their, they have their hot takes and they all get upset about it. But at the end of the day, it's hot air that means nothing. Bill Belichick will get in the Hall of Fame next year, and everybody will say, he should have got in the first year. Who cares? He's in the Hall of Fame. It's not, do you get in your first year? Because if that's the case, then you get 1 year and you're in or you're out. Then I guess it would be a legit Hall of Fame if you wanted to say the best of the best. But based on rules, not everybody can get in their first year. There's too many guys eligible every year.
Arlen Bruce is a regular viewer of this show. As the CFL fan you are, you'll know that name. And he says they should have different colored blazers depending on what ballot you want. Gold for first ballot, orange for second. Sure. That would be great. That same Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, go, Jason, go. Love the talk. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just a few things. Number one, last night in the press box, you might have seen me saying this earlier in the football stadium. They're saying it's the same old Patriots, and that's a boring story in this Super Bowl. I don't agree with that. Your thoughts?
Oh, is Belichick and Brady there? What are we talking about? Like, Mike Vrabel's really and I guess the owner are really the only connection to the old Patriots. Like, good on the Patriots, man. They earned their way back in here. Drake May's played great, right? They beat all the teams that they had to beat on the schedule. And I don't care if they got lucky in matchups, whatever. Hey, they won the games. Lots of guys have a softer schedule. Doesn't mean you take advantage of it. So, no, this team is not remotely the same at all, other than the fact that here's a young Drake May early in his career getting to a Super Bowl, very similar to a young Tom Brady. I'm not saying Drake May is going to become Tom Brady. I'm just saying that, to me, is really the only connection. This is a whole new era of Patriots. I don't think, and this is not a hot take, I don't think the Patriots are going to win, 6 championships in the next, 18 or 20 years, just because it's really hard to do again. But it's good to see them back in there. And a little bit of a rematch from a decade or so ago between these two teams. Do you think Seattle will run the ball if they're on the 1 yard line this time?
Super Bowl 49, Phoenix. It was amazing. Yes. By the way, in the 6 minutes we have left, I'll probably come back on hockey, but the CFL fans, love the chat here. I know you love the CFL. I also love might be a strong term, but I think you were a big fan of Trey Ford. What did you think when he was released Friday by the Elks It sounds like he landed in Hamilton.
Dude, I called this 3 months ago. The minute Trey Ford didn't play in games down the stretch, I knew he was done, right? I said it at the time. They're moving in a different direction, and that's fine. I look at the Trey Ford situation. There's a lot of people to look at as to why it hasn't worked out. Number one, from day one, the Chris Jones and how they treated him, I don't think it's right. All the guy did was win early, and then he still didn't get a chance. And the Bethel Thompson decision was terrible. No one can debate that. Now, Cody Fajardo came in, and Cody Fajardo kind of took the starting job from him. He was better. I think Trey Ford, what he needs to do in Hamilton is really hone in on his footwork as a quarterback, because his athleticism is there, Rod, and I actually think he's a better thrower than some people think. He doesn't have a cannon of an arm, but he doesn't have a dud of an arm. His scrambling ability is world-class. He might be the fastest guy in the league, so that's going to help. Learn under Bo Levi Mitchell, learn under Milanovic, and really learn how to develop the technical side of a quarterback, and I think he can play. I think way too many people want to quickly throw guys out. You cover the CFL for years. Go back and look at Anthony Calvillo's first 5 years in the league, right? Ricky Ray is the anomaly. Lots of other guys take time to learn and develop, and Trey Ford now, that's what he needs to do, is learn and develop. And hopefully he can do it under Bo Levi Mitchell and Milanovic.
It's amazing. Anthony Calvillo will tell you he was awful his first few years and was lucky to hang on to his job, which, by the way, that's the thing with Sam Darnold. Back to the Super Bowl, I'm getting a real bang out all the Jets fans, pundits, media saying, oh, we should have held on to him. The lack of patience, and it's not just in the NFL, but I think they're the worst. It's bad.
Yes.
It's bad, man.
Oh, Rod, Warren Moon had the best quote. He told me on my show once. He goes, there's not a shortage of quarterbacks. There's a shortage of teams willing to develop quarterbacks properly. You're the worst team in the NFL. You draft a quarterback, any of the bad teams, top 5, you rush him right away, and then he doesn't save your team. Oh, well, this guy's terrible. You don't have an O-line to protect him. You don't have lots of things. Well, figure it out. You can't just expect a guy to be a superhuman hero and solve your team. Like, look at the great quarterbacks who can't get to a Super Bowl. Never mind win a Super Bowl. They just can't get there. Teams win, not individual. You need a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. But, Trey Ford didn't have a ton of support around him, the first few years in Edmonton. Last year, hey, Cody Fajardo was just better. That's no problem. That's going to happen in competition. So now Ford's got to get better. But overall, I think there's way too much impatience when it comes to developing quarterbacks.
If you ever, this is the last point, if you ever needed any proof about ownership and its importance, look who's going back to the Super Bowl and look who's picking high again. Raiders, Browns, Jets, what I mean? And, right? And what's nice in the NHL is there is some turnaround here. Like San Jose looks like they're going to be in the playoffs, and Anaheim looks, they got one of the two will be, but at least they're not bad forever. But having the Leafs suck isn't great. And big matchup tonight, Toronto at Calgary tonight in the National Hockey League. But I had a young podcaster or a guy that was on my show down here, the Panther show that I do, saying it's bad for the NHL if the Leafs are bad. I actually laughed at him because I said before you were born, they always were. But they'll be coming through the West. Yeah, that's not new. But how do you feel about their suckiness?
Well, I'm not stunned overall. Their goaltenders hit a lot of errors for them last year. You lose a 100-point player. You can't replace him with a bunch of pieces and think that it's all going to work. That wasn't going to happen. And then they had some injuries, and I've always questioned the grittiness and the toughness and the commitment of their core, and I don't think that they have it. And I think this year's showing it. So Brad Treliving is going to have to make some tough decisions. Is the league better with Toronto? It's always good to have a villain, no question about it. But I don't buy that the league can't function for 1 year. Like if the Leafs are terrible for a decade, sure, that's not good. But it's 1 year, right? And hey, they've survived many times without the Leafs. What have they won? How many times have they won 2 rounds in the playoffs, Rod? I had hair the last time they won 2 rounds in the playoffs. So let's
20 plus years.
20 plus years.
You answered your own. You answered your own question. Well, look at the NFL with the New York. The Giants and the Jets suck, and you don't hear anybody. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to jump on the kid. He's a kid.
15 years, man. They're brutal. Brutal. Like not even close. Dormant.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the league should do? They might have to do what they did to the Giants. Remember when everybody forgets this. The NFL they basically took the ownership away from the Giants because it was so dysfunctional. And then Bill Parcells ran the team for a few years and they won championships and then the owner came back. Right? Like you could look seriously at the Jets. Would the league ever do it again? They might have to think about it because it might be better for them to do it.
Well, the NHL did it with the Coyotes because they had to. Not that it got any better. But it is also nice, by the way, when Utah came in through here last week, and it's nice that they're actually relevant, to be honest. I really don't like that they've been allowed.
Great owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great owner.
I don't like that they've been allowed to. Did I see his what?
Did you see his quote on an interview with Frank Cervella? And he talked about how I got to be leery of my shadow. It casts a big shadow, and I need people that will hold me in check. And it's true, because you have some of these owners that you have a bunch of yes men who just say everything to them, and they just continue to suck. And they're like, well, I'll take my big salary. Right? I'll keep taking my big salary. And, I thought that was very good stuff.
Oh, we're out of time, Jason. Thank you. But don't get me started on that. We'll be right back. Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, everybody. Why was I not ready for that? Rep the show you love. Shop the Rod Pedersen Show store today at rodpedersen.com. Just click on RP Store. You like what I wear? You like what I use as a mug? We got hats, t-shirts, bunny hugs. That's a Saskatchewan term, which I feel like might be a good time to tell you. I was saying earlier, if we have time, let me tell you about some of the analytics that we dug into Not last night because I was at the outdoor game in Tampa, but this morning. It blows your mind, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, stick with me, okay? You know that we're on Game Plus television across Canada and 33 U.S. states. Those television, and in Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, we've got rough estimates on what the viewership is there, but digitally only. Our YouTube, our podcast, WQVZ radio, which we're streaming on there with audio, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. We're into the millions monthly of people that are consuming it. But 40% of the viewers watching on YouTube are in the USA. 40% are in the United States. 60% Canada. That's just YouTube. From our Facebook page, it's into the millions of impressions a month. 60% are in Saskatchewan. 60, that shouldn't surprise anybody. I lived there for a half century. Number 2 region is Winnipeg, which also at rodpedersen.com, where we post sports columns. Scruffy has one, Mike Stackhouse, 10 WHL things, my daily commentary, Monday Morning Goalie. Saskatchewan number 1 there, Winnipeg number 2. But get this, of the podcast downloads, Apple, Spotify, wherever else you find us for podcasts, 50% are in Toronto. 50%. So maybe that translates to the television ratings. We're not sure. But I just, I don't know if that's because of the CFL coverage. That's the thing about analytics. You can sit and look at the numbers, but you need to figure out how and why that is. 40% watching in America on YouTube, yet 50% of podcast downloads are in Toronto, and 60% of Facebook audience is Saskatchewan. Like, it is bing, bing, but hey, whatever. You're all here. It's growing exponentially. And I got to thank producer Corey for his role in that. And Joe, obviously. Brent writes in. He says, Saskatchewan right here. Thank you, Brent. Glad to have you. Very much so. And thank you for prompting me to give you my picks earlier, because I might have forgotten other words. Blaine writes in. He's watching on streaming. He says, go Seahawks. Rod, I spoke to you as the tall tuba player in the Rough Riders pep band at the Cathedral Village Arts Festival. Great show. Go Hawks. I remember it well. As a matter of fact, we've had a couple of discussions. That's the one problem with me. I don't forget. I wish that wasn't the case. Sports update. Barry Trotz is retiring as general manager of the Nashville Predators after 3 years on the job, but will stay on until a successor is found and will play a role in that process. The 63-year-old Trotz from Winnipeg, Manitoba, said this morning he informed majority owner Bill Haslam in December that he intended to step away when his contract expired at the end of next season. The decision is not health-related, and Trotz is expected to stay with the organization as an advisor through that time. Again, a one-time rotating captain of the Regina Pats. How about that? Done a great job. 5th all-time in games coached in the National Hockey League. We wish Trotzy well. NFL, you all know this. The Las Vegas Raiders are working toward finalizing an agreement to make Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak their head coach. He will be the 5th full-time head coach since the Raiders moved to Las Vegas in 2020. Now I understand from our Las Vegas viewers why they don't even want us to talk about the Raiders. They're like, we're good. The Arizona Cardinals hired Mike LaFleur as their head coach, turning to a division rival's offensive coordinator to try to pull the franchise out of the bottom of the NFC West. Cardinals made the announcement Sunday. The 38-year-old LA Rams assistant replaces Jonathan Gannon, who was fired January 5th after posting 15 wins over 3 seasons with the Cards. Sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone. Looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. We'll be right back here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And, of course, broadcasting across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV. Overtime right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. It's been fun hasn't it been? What a great start to the week. And I should tell you that we are brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your hockey shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes. It's an amusement park for hockey players. They're now offering shooting training. Do you want to be the next Connor Bedard? Who doesn't? Stop in and see Randy and Michelle. Tell them the RP Show sent you. It's the perfect place, whether you're prepping for the big game or you just want to have some fun. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. My mind's going pew, pew, pew all over the place with all the things that we talked about. I just had so much fun last night at the outdoor game, and Tim McGraw. I need another 2 hours to tell you all these stories of being in the room with Tim McGraw hobbling in with a, a walking boot. Nobody asked why he was wearing it. I was a little disappointed that he wasn't wearing a cowboy hat on stage at the outdoor game last night, but I have been encouraged to keep it positive, Rod. I don't have a problem with that. Keeping it positive, not at all. And I feel like we flipped some people today, Wilf writing in from Steinbach saying it was a circus. I'm like, who doesn't love a circus? It was. Sitting there, fireworks, all kinds of things going on. At a hockey game, you don't see that very often. And Jason Gregor underscored that when he was with us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. It's supposed to be a spectacle. They don't do that every game. It reminds me of the very first Vegas Golden Knights game that I went to in 2020. It was like a month before COVID. And the general manager, Kelly McCrimmon, who I saw was voted in some meme, some poll, the number one general manager in the Vegas Golden, in the National Hockey League, the Vegas GM, Kelly McCrimmon. I didn't need a poll to tell me that. I've been telling you that for years. But anyways, Kelly texted me. He's like, what'd you think of my first Golden Knights game? And I'm like, I didn't know where to look, Kel. People dropping from a ceiling, dancing, girls, explosions. It's really awesome. That's every game in Vegas. But that's what we had for the outdoor games here in Florida, and that's what we want. Wayne writes in from BC. He says, that was a great segment with Jason Gregor. This show has flown by as it usually does. Time flies when you're having fun. If it drags, that's the day we quit. Oh, and Wayne goes on to say, I agree with Jason on the Hall of Fame. Who cares if a guy got into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot? Bill does. And it reminds me of this text that's come in from Ron in Calgary, who's a daily viewer and a good guy and a supporter of mine. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Lather, gone, finally. He helped us get a cup, but not the same anymore. Kicker, and he is done. It's not personal, thank God. How'd you like to be Brett Lather? Career over. But we've been there. He's 35. As I read this morning, I would have put him a couple years younger than that. But about the same age I was when I left the Regina Pats. It was hard. It's hard. But these comments that come in, you're done. Maybe you are. Sometimes it's hard to accept. Or in the case of Belichick, who cares if you get in the first, second, or third ballot? Well, he cares. I'm not asking you to have sympathy or empathy for him. I'm just saying he's got to be embarrassed for a year. Okay? And everywhere he goes answering questions. Hey, Bill, how's it feel not to get into the Hall of Fame when you've won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach and 2 as an assistant? It sucks. Really? You wonder why people don't leave the house. Brent writes in, he says, do you think Colorado will repeat? Who are we talking about? Repeat what? Ted writes in from Red Deer. He says, long-time Raiders fan here. It hurts me to say Raiders, Jets, Browns, and Cardinals, bottom of the bucket ownership that continue to find new ways to dig deeper. I don't know what to say about that. I had a Bruins fan who's probably watching right now. He watches this show every day. Right, Rob? I won't tell them where you're from. He texted me last night. My phone was blowing up as I was at Raymond James Stadium from people watching the game on TV. It's what made me so grateful that I was there. Thank you, National Hockey League, because so many people wanted to be there. But Rob goes, just when I thought I'd seen every way for the Bruins to lose a game. Yeah. Hopefully he woke up today in a better mood, but I get it. From the anonymous count, mathematician writes in and says, Lather's done dirty by the Riders, even after he put on a charity hockey game. Let's everybody be, try to be a little more positive. Hey, it sucks for the guys that were released. It is what it is. Yeah, Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He's like, the Colorado Mammoth? I'm with you. I don't know who he's referring to, Colorado repeating. And it was the Buffalo Bandits that won the National Lacrosse League last year, not the Colorado Mammoth, because Buffalo beat Saskatchewan in Game 3 of a best-of-3 series. It's actually kind of funny to me that everybody thinks we don't follow any of the other sports. I mean, I got a lot of spare time on my hands, so I'm following what's going on in the NLL. Saskatchewan 7-1 and atop the power rankings, don't you know? I'm following everything that's going on. We just don't talk about it here. We only got 2 hours a day. Yeah. You're good, Brent, in the Bridge City. We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have everybody here. I got to most of what I wanted to talk about. Super Bowl storylines, our viewer analytics. That's just fascinating to the nerds like us, the propeller heads, as producer Corey says. Growing viewership in America, growing viewership in Toronto, which is its own animal. Very strong in Western Canada and will always be. And a lot of live viewers in Florida. And as I learned at every NHL event, a lot of viewers in California. Up is up, as they say in the business world. Tomorrow, Jeff Reinbold joins us from Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, that Jeff Reinbold from Super Bowl. We'll talk about their Hawaii Bowl win and more. Game Plus Television and Silver State Sports Entertainment Network.
That.